Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, and welcome to the Amateur Otaku podcast. How is everybody doing out there? I am Brandon Alvarado. I don't know my name anymore. I am Brandon Alvarado, the Scarlet fan here, and I'm very excited to be here with all of you guys today to talk anime, and not just any anime. Attack on Titan, the final season. I'm really excited to come back here and talk anime with you guys in our continued coverage of the final season of Attack on Titan. And as usual, I am accompanied by the one, the only, the colossal Isaac Wolf. What is up, my man?
It's going good. It's going good. How about you?
It's all good, man. It's all good. Thank you guys for joining us at the Amateur Otaku. We're really excited to be here. If you like what we do here in this anime YouTube channel and podcast, feel free to go to our YouTube channel and subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. And make sure to share with your friends and click on the bell for notifications so you don't miss any stream, you don't miss any episode, you don't miss any of our Attack on Titan coverage, any of our Promised Neverland coverage, and any of our regular routine anime review and coverage every week, which we give you anime coverage every single week from different shows and whatever the two shows that are ongoing that we are covering. Make sure to share with friends on YouTube. And if you like listening to the podcast better, we're available on every podcast platform: Spotify, Radio Public, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever podcasts are found. You can find the Amateur Otaku and join the awesome community of people loving anime and talking anime. Isaac, how you been, man? What you been up to?
I've been up to a lot of stuff: writing, watching, reading, playing,
Nice.
all that kind of stuff.
Very, very nice. Now, you mentioned a little bit ago that you started a new anime. You want to share with the class?
Yeah, I just found some fluffy slice of life anime, which kind of clicked with me, considering my weird history in school, so to speak.
Mm.
It's it's called. I'm sorry if I butchered that name, but Horimiya, which is in the TLDR version, a slice of life anime about sort of like two high schoolers who is more than meets the eye that connects with each other after a certain occurrence.
Is it H? It's Horimiya or Korimiya?
Horimiya.
I think I found a picture of it. Let me see if this is what you're talking about, so others can't see it. Let's see.
It's an ongoing, yeah, right? As far as I know.
Is that the one you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Maybe it's something that we'll be able to cover in the future. Very nice.
Yeah.
Is it like, it's a slice of life, like a Smile Down the Runway slice of life, where it's like these two characters and they're in and out of our lives? Is it just like them going to school, or is there like
it's sort of like, yes, them going to school. It's sort of like a...
Okay, so it's pretty simplistic in that matter.
Yeah.
There's not like an additional gimmick. I mean, I feel so bad calling it a gimmick. Like Smile Down the Runway, you have the whole thing. Like, it all has to do with fashion and them and their lives, but this is all about their school life. So literally, a lot of teacher stuff, students, other students, stuff like that, field trips, that kind of thing.
It's as far as I know, I'm only 5 episodes in, because that's what whack 'em in hand. It's only just the daily life of school, so to speak, and it feels rather... Well, it has some classic anime moments. It feels rather realistic in terms of the interaction between the characters, and that's what makes it kind of enjoyable.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I think with all the madness and all the crazy fantasy and action stuff that we cover and horror stuff, a good slice of a good slice of life anime like the one you're mentioning sounds like a very nice palate cleanser. Like something a little different, a little light, but good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of sounds that way. Hopefully, we'll cover it in the future once it wraps up that season, and we can share more with the class. But Isaac, we're here to do something very particular today. We're going to talk about a show that no one has heard of. Okay, I'm not even going to try. Okay, we're going to talk about Attack on Titan. We're going to talk about Attack on Titan because, of course, this final season, which I find it so gratifying to say, it has been its strongest season yet. It's very hard to have a season this far in the game be this consistently good. I keep getting surprised of how great this show is, but also how great the episodes have been, how great the pacing has been, and how the storytelling moments, the big moments, hit you hard. And you and I are in a different boat than most people that are anime only watchers because we've read the book. So we're seeing all this to some degree. To some degree, we're seeing all these things happening for a second time. But the anime is so good, the animation is excellent, and the direction is so. And the little things here and there that they're adding to make it an even more immersed experience, if I can say that, make this watch fresh. Does that make sense? It makes it
Yeah.
feel very fresh. It doesn't feel like I'm retreading old roads. So episodes 67 and 68 of the anime were great. And we're going to dive in. And there's a lot of things that happen. I think for those that are finding us for the first time, I want to yell in lungs like Aaron screaming at female. Spoiler. This is your only spoiler warning. I'm going to take a minute and I'm just going to write a banner and I'm going to put it on there for like 5 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, spoilers. If you're not watching the Attack on Titan anime, you cannot see this video. You cannot listen to what we're going to say. We're going to talk a big moment that took place in episode 67. We're going to talk a lot of backstory to a degree of things that are happening in episode 8. So if you have not seen this, we would appreciate it if you pause it and leave as opposed to destroying us in the comments. So apart from the fact that Google probably told everybody what happened, but we want to do
You
our
mean
part.
Twitter?
That too. We want to be the good side of fandom. Not the bad, not the bad side. So, only spoiler warning. Okay, so Isaac, episode
Yes.
67. Ever since we started this season and everything we started covering the show, we've talked about this in one way, shape, or another. We've talked about this episode. We've talked about this moment. And it finally came. And I think the name of the episode by itself says a lot, right? And I think it was very interesting and creative the way they planned everything, especially with the way they planned it when you take in consideration the other episodes and the other glimpses that you see in previous episodes. But the name of the chapter is Assassin's Bullet. And I'm gonna sound I want to sound stupid on purpose, but Isaac, when you read Assassin's Bullet, what comes to mind?
Food Wars.
It sounds like a plate, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It sounds like one of those plates that they do in this Shogugeki like battle and underpants are flying off. Isaac, wrong show. Wrong show. Okay? Even though all the Titans are naked. So
Oh my.
I'm sorry. I was trying to create a connection between the food wars that you introduced and Isaac. This is supposed to be a sad moment, damn it. Okay, but yes, for real. When you read Assassin Bullet, what comes to mind?
Well, more bloodshed, war, and all that.
You see, when I see Assassin's Bullet, to me, what makes it so dramatic, the title. And this is me trying to look at the episode or trying to look at the title without knowing what's going to happen, even though I know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It feels singular. It feels like an isolated incident. It feels like something personal. And 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 that's what stands out to me because keep in mind, we in the last couple of episodes, to be exact, the last 2 to 3 episodes were all about a moment, a great battle in a war. It was a war scene. That's what we were seeing for all this time, right? But when you go to the idea of an assassin, you're talking about a singular assailant with a singular point and purpose. So this has nothing necessarily to do 100% with the war or the big battle that was going on. You know what I mean? So it has all those layers in it. And the idea is bullet, it means it's one person, it has one target. So someone's dying. We know this. We know who already, but we know someone's dying. But I like how this was an episode that kind of like it was about the assassin and the target and how they made the episode that way. Because when you think about it, um, we don't really see that much of the person that was killed previously to this episode to a degree. Like the first real conversation that we see is when she is shown, and I'm going to say the name in a minute because I know that everybody knows the name already. But I like how the name was. It was very artistic from my end. But yes, we lost one of our original scouts, and the internet is all fans are crying and are suffering it. I did not cry, but I'm gonna be honest that the way the episode was presented, because I already knew that it happened, but because I read the
I
book. But
remember I remember when it happened in the manga. It was like, how should I put it? I wouldn't say it wasn't as big within the fandom as Ash winning that Alolan Cup in the last season of Pokemon, but it was almost as close,
right.
or so it felt at least.
No, and to me, I felt it. And the thing is that even though I didn't break down crying or something like that, I gotta admit that the scene was so powerful that I felt every inch of how the characters felt, how broken that group felt because they lost Sasha. Because Sasha dying, um, it takes you back to the idea of how nobody, even from the main group, is exempt to dying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because when you think about it, there's a lot of things that we have to take consideration when we look at this death. So one of the things is what this death means, and also is who killed her and why. So let's start with the easy thing. Gabi killed her. This warrior candidate kid, this kid that has been brainwashed to some degree by Marley, by the idea of freedom.
To some degree.
No, you know what I mean. Because it's a mixture of Marley and also the Eldian populace. Because it's not just Marley.
Again, brainwashed to some degree? Question mark.
The reason I said that is because
I would say scratch to some degree.
no, but let me finish my thought, Isaac.
Never.
When I say brainwashed to some degree by Marley, is because Marley is not the only culprit in brainwashing her.
I know
And
that. I know that
no, no,
you're
but what I
saying.
mean but I think that's very important to say. Because to say that she was only brainwashed by Marley is one thing, but to say that she was brainwashed by every adult that surrounded her, Eldian and Marleyan alike, is different. Because she was also brainwashed by her Eldian people to think that what she was doing for Marley was correct. So she was being brainwashed from both sides, which is very different. You know what I mean? Because she wasn't just brainwashed by the enemy, she was brainwashed by the people she was trying to protect, which is why the whole thing with Reiner was so powerful because he is the result of a person that's being pulled from both sides. You know what I mean? That's why I think that distinction is important.
I would argue that you kind of could see him earlier in the season of how he his time behind the wall made it sort of like realize that maybe both maybe they are not such a good guy like he believed when he arrived there.
Correct. Correct. And I think that's why that particular observation is important. Not because it's my observation, but because we're so what this show is going to great lengths to show, or I think part of Isayama's point is that this is not about making the Marleyans as the bad guys. That's not what this is about. Everybody has a hand in the horrors that are happening in this world and in this war. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Gabi Falco, but more Gabi because of her impetus and the way she's brainwashed and all that stuff, is that Gabi is the result of the world that has been created by all the adults around her, which led her now to do this, to want to kill Eren Yeager, to want to do whatever she can and sacrifice her own life because she thinks she's doing it to save the world or when there's a bigger picture. You know, there's a bigger picture at large because to think that killing Eren Yeager would stop all war is what she's thinking, is what she's been told is the truth. But the reality is, even before Eren Yeager, Marley was at war with the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she's been treated as a cognitive, she's brainwashed, which led to what happened. And which is her pulling it, being able to hijack one of the OVM gears, get into the airship, and fire a bullet, a singular bullet that killed Sasha with one shot. And
Which begs the
and
question, which honestly, which in my opinion, begs the question of why they weren't able. They were able to make their gear so high tech and more effective, so to speak, yet they couldn't give more protection from bullets.
well, yeah, but then you have to think about, now here's me. This is me. This is me.
Here we
Maybe
go
they
again.
could maybe they could have, but maybe it's a engineering thing. If they put too much weight, it will affect the way their velocity. It's one of those things where they have to trade one thing for the other.
Good
If they're
point.
trying if they're trying to move quick, especially with the new ODM gear, that's probably why.
Good point.
And again, scouts themselves are not known for scouts themselves are not really known for necessarily protecting themselves. They're known for going all out with whatever they have. So they know what they're signing up for. But yeah, that's probably why they didn't wear that much Kevlar or whatever. Apart from the fact that whatever little armor they had was pretty like metal armor. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
But then again, you got to think about it was a rifle. That's one, and two, for being a rifle, that was pretty close quarters. You know what I mean? So that's other things that maybe come into consideration. But the fact that she died, so we know Gabby. I know a lot of people hate Gabby, but that's why I'm one of those that goes, you know what? I can't really hate Gabby because she is a product of everything that's been going on for years. Which is why, to me, the greatest observation after Sasha is shot is John, where he goes like when Flock comes up and says, "Hey, these are the kids that did this. They hijacked using Lodvo's gear. Should we just toss them out? Like literally just kill them? Like let's just toss them out like garbage." And then John says, "No. When is the cycle gonna end if we just keep throwing kids out and killing them?" And the idea that John is asking these questions about the cycle of violence and that the fact that we're having this conversation now, you know what I mean? Like when is the blood spilling going to stop? And there's someone asking those questions, which makes me think how far in this argument are we going to go? Which is something that is not necessarily, I'm going to say, it is kind of hinted at the manga. I wonder if they're going to, because you kind of know that they're going to dig in deeper in different things on the anime that they did in the manga. You know what I mean? So, which is also a good observation. Um, but to me, the most important thing about Sasha's death, apart from the fact that it broke the team and the fact that it was Gabby, John's response, is what that death means to the show and what that death means to the story. And before I say what it means to me, what does her death mean to you? Did it impact you in every specific way? Did it change the dynamic for you in any way?
Define change dynamic.
Like between the characters, like did something? Did you feel? Did you feel the effect on the characters, or
I
was it
mean,
just?
I mean, it's pretty clear that you can feel the change in the characters. I mean, even Eren, who comes off as a bit stone cold hearted at the beginning of this season, broke down in tears when he heard that Sasha died. And that should say something, because sure, he might not be the same old Eren, but bit of somewhat of a human is still there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I think that was one of those moments where you see Aaron kind of like dealing with like for the first time, like he's been trying to hold on to his mission for all this time, which is why he's been holding back all emotion. And but the fact that someone as close as Sasha died, um, and the fact that for that moment he really felt that she died because of his decisions. That was a powerful moment, and which actually kind of it's piggyback towards the end of episode 68, which is the next episode, with the last little scene that we get with Aaron. I think that's kind of like a piggyback of him kind of brushing off emotion again to refocus. You know, that moment he has in the mirror. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
A
but
classic
here's
scene
why.
to use for flashbacks. Have you noticed that? It's not just in anime, but a lot of using be looking yourself in a mirror as a way of triggering a flashback.
Yeah, yeah, because you're seeing yourself different, and then you're thinking about how you used to look.
Yeah.
It's like a very common story trope. Yeah, you're right, and it's a good one too. Because at the end of the day, very few people. It's one thing when people see you change. It's another thing when you stop to realize how much you've changed. You know what I mean? And that's kind
Yeah.
of what looking yourself in the mirror and going in down that rabbit hole of memory lane what kind of triggers. Um, But to me, the biggest point of Sasha's death is what that death means to the show and the story. And yes, a lot there were six casualties, right? There were six casualties among the scouts before Sasha's death because they're doing like a roll call as everybody's going onto the airship, right?
Yeah.
But Sasha's the first one that means something because it has to do with the original crew of heroes or the original crew of characters that we've been following since season one, since that training camp around episode 3 after the fall of the walls of Shiganshima. The reason why Sasha's death is so crucial is because she is the first victim of war. She is the first death that occurs as a result of war, as a result of battle. Most other scouts and most other ones that died were in the hands of titans, were in the hands of titan related battles or horrific titan related accidents or troublesome. She is the first one that was killed because of war by another human being. And that changes the dynamic and the dialogue and kind of reinforces the idea that this show is not just about the horror elements and just about the monsters. It's about the horrors of war. And this is their first encounter with that. And 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 that kind of like blew my mind because I never saw it that way until watching the anime and then watching episode 68, the way her death is treated when you see them all in their uniforms, you see them going to her grave, it kind of like accentuates that idea. You know what I mean? Because how many people were actually killed during all those Titan battles that they were actually buried? None of them. None of them were buried or remembered in this way. And most of the times you do that when people fall in battle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And and it kind of accentuates. I think I mentioned this on the previous episode. The whole thing with the intro of the show, the new opening, the new intro that's been going on, which I'm kind of intoxicated by it now in a good way. Is that it's no longer just about the monsters or the mythology. This is a show about war and seeing the horrors of it, especially now. And you and I that have read the manga, we know that it continues on this trend until the next big event. You know what I mean? It's all about
Yeah.
this political double crossing and all these different things, all these different chess pieces, and it all becomes this war for Paratus to a degree. If we were to call that an arc, I would even call the what's coming up now the war Paratus. And I'm really looking forward to see how that continues to develop. But yeah, we lost Sasha, bro. And between this episode and the next one, all the little moments that we have kind of remembering her felt so bittersweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like and but it also feels fitting like I like how they did it in a way where we're not throwing this character away. We're giving you two more chapters with her. You know what I mean? Or at least one more chapter with her in one shape or form so we can properly say goodbye. And I appreciate
That.
that from the creators. That was well done.
Yeah. The more I read and watch it, the more I just question how the hell are you going to do a live action movie, live action of this
Yeah, this is one of those.
without
This is one.
without spending $250 million dollar on every movie and not having it or
Yeah, and that's the thing though. This is the kind of show that it shouldn't be a movie. If anything, it should be a show. Or it should be left as it is. Just because, I mean, just because of how much it changes throughout the show. You know what I mean? It changes gears so much throughout the entirety of the story that I think it's really hard because you know what I mean? Because it's not like a point A to point B story. You know what I mean? It is not that, so it's really hard to, travel that without those installments or whatever. But yeah, we lost Sasha, bro. That's that was the big one. I think what hurt me the most was that moment where, so you're crying, you feel it when John and Connie are feeling it and they're crying and they're dealing with it. But when Connie comes over to the cockpit and tells the group, and Mikasa and Armin just run to her, and then you see Mikasa and Armin crying, but it's all in silence, like you don't hear anything. That's the moment they got me choked up. That was me going
Stay.
like, damn, damn.
Or she was like a twin for me.
Oh yeah. Oh no, yeah. That one right there was like, yeah, yeah, that was crazy. Um, I think we're done with episode 67. You want to go to 68? You ready?
Yo.
So episode 68 was one that covered a lot of ground, but it was mostly just storytelling and exposition, right? So episode 68 kind of tells us what happens in Paratus in those 3 years. So we know for a fact that there was a time skip between the last chapter in season three and between chapters 59 of the anime and chapter 60 there was a time skip. So now we know the time skip was 3 years, and during those 3 years, Marley had sent scout ships to Paratus, and they were hijacked by the scouts. But in the midst of them, we are introduced to the character of Yelena and Otonekopo. I don't know how to say his name, which is her friend, and we kind of see this idea of these anti-Marleyan group who are led by Zeke, and apparently Zeke is leading the charge of an anti-Marleyan regiment that wants to free Eldia, and he has a secret plan to do this, and he needs Aaron's founding titan. And so those that watched the episode,
He also need a Titan of royal blood, which is why he decided to absorb the Warhammer Titan.
that's the thing. I don't think that's what he meant, Isaac. That's not what he meant. He grabbed the Warhammer Titan because he wanted more power. The idea of
True,
the ti-
but
the
he wasn't.
idea
True, but he wasn't. He didn't. He wasn't a Titan of royal blood either, and they specifically they said that he needed one of royal blood as well.
correct, which is why they're talking about Zeke. Zeke is a Titan of royal blood.
Good point.
That's what Zeke is referring to. And that's where the revelation comes. I mean, which by the way, this is not really a revelation because it's a revelation to the characters of the show, because this whole thought process of, because Aaron from season 3, Aaron already knew how to control the founding titan power, and he knew that he needed a someone of royal blood, but he didn't want to say anything because they didn't want them to harm Historia. So he didn't say anything. He kept it a secret. But as soon as he punched the Titan of Zeke's mom, which is the Titan that ate Aaron's mom, which is, yeah, kind of crazy. That's when he was able to use the Founding Titan's power for the first time. He was able to use the coordinate that one time. So the idea is that Zeke wants to work together with Eren to be able to activate the Founding Titan for a secret plan. But one of the biggest things that they dropped, which is very interesting, is that they actually actively said that with the Founding Titan's power, they should be able to activate quote unquote Paradis's last hope, which is the rumbling, which is unleashing the millions of titans in the walls in onto the world. So this is the second time they've mentioned the rumbling. So everybody take that for what they will. But I think of all the episodes of all the seasons, this is the season they've talked most about it. But I like now that they've taken the time to explain how it works. You know what I mean? Like the first
Yeah.
time they talked about the idea of it happening through the presentation of Willie Tiber. He talks about the possible rumbling. And then in this episode, they explained how it works. The Fountain Titan has the power to unleash the rumbling, but because Eren is not of royal blood, he needs to come in contact with a Titan of royal blood, which when we know that Zeke is, because Zeke is the half brother of Eren, but the son of Dinah Fritz, which is of royal blood. So, so like all the pieces are falling into place to possibly have this rumbling happen. Um, but at the same time, apparently Zeke has a secret plan, and they have not told us what it is. And literally, Zeke is saying, "I will not tell you what the plan is until the time is right," which is very Zeke. It's just Zeke being Zeke.
Kind of.
But I think the most, apart from the exposition and the biggest things that I loved about this episode is every time Hanji freaks out with technology.
That's her in a nutshell.
Those moments are just adorable, like adorable. And I love how in one of those first communications between Yelena, Otokopo, Levi, like Levi is telling her, calm down. They're gonna think we're weak. And 2 seconds later, what? Like she's just freaking out because they're talking about airplanes and guns, and then like she's freaking out when she's seeing the train, and that's super awesome. I mean, Hanji is such a awesome character, and by the way the show the episode starts, right, with like one of the big moments of the episode when they go back to the past, when Hanji is doing this whole skit where she's like this malevolent, like a sneaky person. That is like the funniest Hanji, bro. It is so funny. Like she's like this crazy maniacal person, like losing her marbles. Like she's like a serial killer. I mean, I love Hanji. Um, but yeah, like there's a lot of exposition, a lot of information. We have a great, beautiful moment with Sasha, because Nicolo, which is now he's a Marleyan chef, and now he's been captured and has been allowed to work as a chef for Paradis for the army. He's been making food, and for the longest time, he's like hated everything. But then of course we have this great montage of Sasha eating food. When when have we really seen a character that our hearts warm because she's crying because of food? And this is not even Food Wars.
Not many. Not many. What I
You know
can
what I mean?
recall.
And it was so heartwarming. And the idea that like Nicolo, he got all blushed. You know what I mean? He got his face flushed red because he kind of became us. Like we felt like he felt as Sasha was crying because of how good the lobster was. Um, and then of course you have that moment with Sasha's family. And what a heartbreaking and heartwarming conversation. Um,
Yeah.
and I like how that moment kind of like crystallizes what Armin talks about, which, by the way, the idea that this particular episode was kind of designed exactly how it happens in the book, because all these things that are are happening, we are being narrated this by someone, and that someone is Armin. And so in the beginning, the episode ends one way and pretty much ends with the conversation with Armin, pretty much, and Armin is narrating all these things, and it's just like it happens in the book, right? So he's narrating all these encounters, all the things that we've learned, and stuff like that. But one of the things that he talks. Go ahead.
Go ahead. I can mention that later.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I talk a lot.
Do you remember when they asked what are your skin different that episode, and that just makes me realize somehow how he is good, how much he is the very notion of anti-racism he actually going for, because in this specific art, because they are cultural, they are people from all different world, and we have to remember that they have never been outside of the wall until now. So the closest one they have met isn't that is technically a person of color is Mikasa. I don't know if you can recall it in the manga. I don't know if they said it in anime. They make a big deal on how she's half Japanese, because they believe that in that bandit who abductors they were extinct. So them meeting people that is of color or other culture, that is a big deal, because it goes with the whole anti-racism and the whole cultural thing is doing. I mean, just look at the current bad guy. They are so much Nazi. So much taking a cue from the Nazis that it's almost unsubtle, I would argue, even if it's greatly implemented within the context of the story.
Yeah. And that brings me to this point, is the idea that one of the most crucial pieces of information that Armin shares is this idea of how as they kept hijacking Marley convoys, right? And Marley ships, they kept bringing Marley prisoners. Over time, as slowly, as little by little, they could push all their differences aside and started putting labels aside and started putting ideas of race, culture aside. They were able to see each other as human beings. You know what I mean? And they were able to come together and grow together and share their informations and insights together. And I think one of those moments that highlights that idea that Armin is talking about is the conversation between Niccolo and Sasha's family.
Yeah.
The idea that they were brought together by a fallen person, right? But a person that died that they both loved. One because it was a daughter, and the other one because it was a patron, to a degree, you know.
She didn't care about his upbringing. Even though he was technically their enemy, she didn't care about. She loved him.
Yeah.
She trusted him and loved his food and all that jazz.
Yep. And because it kind of goes, and it's funny how it goes down to food, because it makes you think like the argument is that It's not. It's literally not who you are, but what you do.
Exactly.
His
Which is also one of the reasons why I discussed that whole um, about how it's against people who have prejudice of
Yep.
other cultural or races and all that.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. So that was a beautiful moment. That was a beautiful moment, and the idea that Paratus is kind of, or at least so far, is kind of becoming this hub where yes, there is now this hatred and hacism against the Marlians among top brass people, but there are those that are trying to just create a safe place for whoever needs a safe place, um, and trying to achieve that. And the episode ends with the revelation of who Armin is talking to, which I think it's someone that everybody forgot existed until this moment. And he's talking to Annie. He's talking to Annie that is still in a crystallized state ever since she lost against Aaron. And apparently Armin's been talking to her for a while. And sharing adventures and pretty much talking to her, hoping that she would come back, wake up, or whatever. So that's interesting. Um, and if we know our good friend Isayama, he won't just show things to show us. That means something.
And if you
So,
read the manga, you know.
oh,
It.
stop it! Oh, stop it, Isaac, with your logic. Um, but yes. Um, so it was a great exposition episode. It was really enjoyable to watch. A lot of heartwarming moments. A nice calm before a nice calm after the storm. But the way the episode ends tells you that there's a lot more storm. Because you don't get a shot like you got from Aaron at the end of the episode and think that the fight is over. And by
They're
the
not
way,
even close to being in the. They're not even close to being in the heart of the in the eye of the storm, so to speak.
yeah, and is it just me, or is Aaron ripped?
Yeah.
Damn, like we've never seen him that ripped. And you know what's so funny? What I was thinking about is that he actually looks like if he was the Attack Titan. Like he's that ripped. He's that ripped, which I think means something. Which kind of tells you how much he's been training and getting stronger and all that stuff.
If you
But yeah,
think about it too, Armin's look has also sort of like transformed into the colossal items. If you see the subtle changes in mannerism, looks, height, and all that, yeah. So it's not just Aaron that has become.
true.
And Reiner looks a lot more like the armor titan now with his current age, so to speak.
That is true. That is true. That is true. Um, let me see. What else we got in this episode? Anything particular? Oh, can we talk about the greatest duo since Lethal Weapon?
Who do you mean?
You know who I mean. The funniest pair in all of Paratus. Zeke and Levi. yo, we need a spinoff. I need a spinoff. The misadventures of Zeke and Levi. Their banter, their conversation is hilarious. It's like Levi hates Zeke, like hates him. and Zeke is scared shitless of Levi, and they don't deny it. And how they talk to each other and the little moments they have together, to me, it's hilarious.
I,
Like that
I
like
wouldn't.
that.
I think no one is not scared of Levi, to be perfectly honest.
No. But Zeke is like vocally scared. Like, but now he's like playing, making fun of it. Like one of the coolest lines in episode 67 is, "Can you stop glaring at me? What if I piss myself?" I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, this is happening. And like, and like every other moment, like when they're in the carriage, like Zeke has to tell him, "Can you stop staring at me like that?" I don't know. It's awesome. Like I think it kind of it feels like they're supposed to be this, like if they were like the good cop bad cop kind of thing. You know what I mean? It feels like that kind of dynamic, and I just find it hilarious. And by the way,
Yeah.
I like how over the top they're portraying Zeke right now. You know what I mean? Like he's like this over, like he's no longer this firm character to a degree. Like when he gets to the jungle where they take him, which by the way, Levi says, "Hey, this is your hotel," which you know that's like an inside joke because Levi is saying, "When you become the Beast Titan, you're like a monkey. Here are some big trees." That's what he's saying. Levi is a sly bastard. yo, yo. And then Zeke is looking up and you can see him like, ah.
Uh,
Who says there's not comedy in Attack on Titan? Damn it. Um, but yeah, that was actually pretty awesome. It was awesome. I couldn't end the episode without talking about them, bro. Like we're gonna keep. I'm gonna keep going back to the Adventures of Zeke and Levi. You know what? That is the cop show that we need, not the one we deserve right now. It's not the show we deserve, but the show we need. I mean, if we got junior high and nobody needed Attack on Titan junior high, we can get the Adventures of Zeke and Levi. Okay.
maybe we should cover this for the cover attack and that one for the sake of the anime now when we're covering the final season after all.
You know what I would like to cover as opposed to doing junior high? There's this book that I think is over, and I've never read it. It's called Attack on Titan Before the Fall.
Uh, Before the fall, you said.
It's called, yeah. It's literally like, I think it's like conspiracy stuff before the fall of Shingen, before the main story. It's like a prequel manga. That looks like it could be interesting.
Okay, because I have the no regrets and the sudden visitors. I was just do I have that?
I don't have that, but we can make something happen. Those are the OVAs, right?
I don't have. I have no regrets part 1 and no regrets part 2, and no regrets is about Levi's backstory.
Oh, nice. I'll definitely have to look into that one so we can cover. Yeah. But yeah.
But yeah, we should do junior. We probably do junior high too.
Ah, damn it! Just for you, Isaac. Damn it! Just for you.
I have watched that. It's pretty hilarious in all the wrong reasons.
Ah. And next week's episode on the Adventures of Zeke and Levi. I admit it. It sounds amazing. It sounds amazing. Okay.
Good.
Hashtag Zeke and Levi. Sitting in a tree. KISSING.
Oh my.
Someone's gonna do the fanfic. Why not here? No.
It probably already exists, and you know that.
Oh, don't make me Google it. Don't. I'm not. Brandon, stop. Stop it. You're not Googling. I am not doing it. It is not happening. This show is off the rails. I think it's official. I think we've done. Isaac, this episode is over. Okay. Isaac, anything else on episode 68? I think we've covered all the big things.
You mean the Titanic things?
Oh boy. Oh, there's a lot of boats. So yeah. Okay. So thank you guys for joining us.
Well for the future.
Yeah. Thank you guys for joining us at the Amateur Otaku podcast on our review of Attack on Titan, the final season.
You know, it both well, both. It's floating.
Isaac, no, stop. No more puns, Isaac. We're done.
Never done with puns.
Damn it. So this colossal pun. Okay, damn it. No. So thank you guys for joining us at the Amateur Otaku. I'm trying to end the show, Isaac. Okay, guys. Thank you for joining us at the Amateur Otaku podcast. We're really excited to have you here, and thank you for listening to our thoughts on Attack on Titan, the final season, episode chapter 67 and chapter 68. We will be back in 2 weeks with our coverages of chapter 69 and 70. We're really excited for what's coming up in Attack on Titan. There's a lot of awesome stuff going on. I feel more confident now than ever, and I think Isaac will agree. Attack on Titan will not end with 16 episodes. It will not end with 16 chapters. This is definitely going to have a cliffhanger in episode 16, and we're going to get a couple of other episodes to wrap up the story, especially with how the manga is. And for those that are reading the manga, Isaac and I are very excited. The manga ends in April. A new chapter drops today. We will be talking the manga on our next episode of of our reviews of Attack on Titan, which is going to happen in 2 weeks. Again, if you love what we do here at the Amateur Otaku podcast, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit on that like button, share with your friends, and click on the bell for notifications so you do not miss any episodes or streams from our channel. And if you love the podcast, go to the Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Radio Public, Stitcher, where all podcasts are found, and follow the pod and join the conversation. If there's anything in particular you guys want us to cover from Attack on Titan, send us a comment, send us a recommendation via our email account, amateurotakurtf@gmail.com, or send us a DM or a message to our Twitter account at Amateur Otaku Pod. Isaac, where can I friends find you?
You can find me at Emblemaniac on Twitter, and you can find us on Instagram at the Amateur Otaku, and you can find my work over at Wobam Entertainment.
And you can find me on Twitter at TheScarletFan52. You can find me on Instagram at TheScarletFan52. And you can find me on Facebook as Brandon Alvarado. I do music, comments, anime, videos, random stuff. But more than anything, thank you for joining us at the Amateur Otaku podcast. Help build the audience, share with your friends. And we will see you tomorrow night with our weekly stream of a overall coverage of a show. We're going to cover the first season of Netflix's series, The Great Pretender. It should be a ton of fun.
No, we are not pretending that we're covering that.
You couldn't help yourself, could you?
Never.
So we are pretending damn it! We are covering The Great Pretender on Netflix. And we're really excited about it, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 7:45 Eastern Standard Time on our next episode.
We also have a My Hero Academia manga episode coming soon.
That will be coming up very soon. I'm going to be putting it on our podcast channel. It's not going to go on YouTube because we don't want people destroying us in comments because of spoilers. So I'll make sure to put all the notes there that it is a spoiler episode because the My Hero Academia manga just finished a big run, and we definitely want to cover it on the show. And we're going to put it on a podcast. So that's going to go live no later than Wednesday because I got to.
It's a week old or so, but I don't recall when we we
Oh no, but
recorded it.
but it's a nice 2 hour chunk, and we were accompanied by our good friends Leah Rydell from Geekly Goods and our good friend Michael Thomas. So we had a great time and a blast, and we can't wait to share with you guys.
With a
But
lot of reference to Denmark. That's the only thing I can say for now.
Titanic Pete, have it awesome, guys. See you later.